Welcome to No Debt Life. Today I'm going to talk about 8 ways that looking for your next home is like dating. And then I'm going to tell you why that matters. So the first way that it's kind of like dating is that you have an initial impression of a place. You kind of a swipe left or swipe right. You either think a place looks, attractive and interesting, or you immediately may have a reaction of like, I don't think that's for me, or you may be somewhere in the middle where you're like, I don't know, I have to learn more. So that's number one. The second way is that you kind of consider, do you find it interesting? Just like you would, does the person seem interesting to you? Are you bored when you're with them? Same thing when you're in a place. Does the place, are there activities that you like to do there? Or would you be bored out of your mind? And that's different for different people because people have different interests and need different levels and types of activities and stimulation. So that's number two. Number three, and I think number three is pretty big for both dating and looking for your home, and that's safety. Everybody wants to feel safe. When you're dating someone, you are either explicitly or subjectively deciding whether you're going to be safe with that person. And obviously, when you're thinking about where you want to live, you want to feel safe there. And again, it's a continuum because it's based on where people's experiences and where they feel safe. And some people, feel totally safe in New York City, and other people that would be too much for them. So that it's another. There's objective measurements that you can look up, statistically, but then there's also a subjective side. And before you make that decision about a place, you want to evaluate both of those things so that you're not surprised later on. So number 4, kind of an obvious one, is cost. Is this place going to drain my bank account? Just like you wouldn't want to be in a relationship with someone who just mooched off of you and took all your money. The same thing about where you live. You don't want to spend all your money such that you have nothing left to live on, and then have to go scrounge around for more. So that's kind of an obvious one. The 5th way, and this is the thing that a lot of people don't think about as much in dating at the beginning, but it actually is pretty huge, and it's, will this place grow with me? Are we, at least at the beginning, on the same track? It's impossible to know. We don't have crystal balls, but you at least want to know you're on the same track. So cities have a way, or towns have a way of expanding or contracting, and at any given point in time, they're usually in the process of one of those things. And you want to know that the track that it's on aligns with what you want. So the place may be the exact right size for you today, but if it's on a path to just boom and double in size, triple in size, and become something that you don't want, it's good to have identified that up front. Likewise, if it's on the downturn, you definitely want to be aware of that too. Again, no crystal ball, so you don't necessarily know what's going to happen. You don't know how you're going to evolve. Like maybe you will evolve into someone who is really excited that it's going to grow, and you are looking forward to that. Or you may evolve into someone that just is like, oh, I've just had too much of this. I want to just go out to the country and just be with the cows or something. So you don't know. And that's why it's always kind of good to build into your plan, a backup plan. Like if something happens, what will I do? And that's why you don't want to buy somewhere where you're not going to be able to sell it, if a circumstance change. Number 6, and I think this is one that most people do, whether they consciously know they're doing it or not, and it's, does it feel like home? And we even hear that term used when it comes to people. When you're dating somebody who's like, oh, I just felt like I was at home with him. Obviously that's harkening back to, when you find that place that just, gives you a sense of comfort and stillness is the best word I can use for it. You just feel like you belong there. There's definitely places that make you feel that way, and they aren't necessarily places that you live. Like, every now and then I will travel somewhere and you just have that moment. It's like, wow, this place is me. Like, I just feel really at home here. And I think that's a huge one. I almost to a necessity. Like, if you don't feel that, I'd have a hard time settling down in a place where I didn't have at least some sense of that, of that belonging. I'm sure some people could make a case for, well, maybe you won't have that on day one, just like you don't necessarily have that day one with a person. And that's absolutely true. And that's why we have this process called dating. And that's why I'm doing my Nomadette life, where I'm dating different locations. So I can give some other places a chance that maybe there is that, that magic's going to happen. It just didn't happen on the weekend that I spent there, 10 years ago. And then number 7, I think, is an interesting one. And it's, when I'm somewhere else, do I wish I was back at the other place? Just like, sometimes you realize your feelings for someone because when you're not with them, you wish you were with them. Like, you just, there's a void there that you didn't even know existed until they had filled it. And same with the place. I think if you are always thinking about returning to a place, there's something there. There's a pull there. That's how it was for me in California. It's like, through my whole life, even though I was living on the East Coast, I was coming to California all the time. It was my favorite place to go when I was on vacation. And then I eventually moved here, and now I live here, and it will always be a part of me, regardless of where my Nomadette life takes me. I'm always going to be, at least somewhat of a California girl. It's definitely a part of me. And then my number 8 way that I think dating people is like looking for your home is some places, just like some people are suitable for a short-term relationship and some people are long-term relationships. I think we have that same possibility with places. Like, maybe you like to go to Chicago in the summer, but you just can't deal with the winter. That's okay. If you can work your life out for that, that's okay. And bonus, the cool thing, with the main reason, the main way that dating people and locations are not the same is that locations don't have feelings. They don't care whether you like them or not. The location, obviously the people in the location care, but Chicago doesn't care if you don't want to spend the winter there. So why does this matter? So why does it matter that dating locations is kind of like dating people? I think it's, for me, it helps bring a framework to the process to make it not quite so overwhelming, because it's a really big world. And if you just think like, man, where in the, there's no way I can visit everywhere in the world. How, it's like too much choice. You can become paralyzed by the choices, and then you don't do anything. So by thinking in this way, it kind of streamlines that process so that you can just ignore the places that that you're not interested in, or you don't have time to see, or you can't afford to see. It's okay. You don't have to see them all. You don't have to experience the entire world unless that's what you want to do. Then that's cool. Your goal is just to be where it makes you happy, and if that could be where you are right now. You're perfectly happy where you are, and that's cool. The purpose of my journey is to just, I want to experience some other places and learn about those places and learn about myself and see if there is some other place that I want to spend at least part of my time. So this is the journey that I'm on. I don't know how long it's going to last. I might do this for a year and decide, yeah, no, I already had found my place. I'm going to go back to, you know, where, you know, I'm going to go back to California, or maybe I'm going to go back to Virginia. You know, who knows? But it's the journey that matters. You know, with all of life, it's the journey that matters, not the destination. So let's make the journey as fun as possible. I hope you have a great day wherever you are.